The story of the first Thanksgiving. Goodbye to England. On a bright September day in 1620, the Pilgrims said goodbye to family and friends. They were leaving England to find a new home far across the ocean in America. There they hoped to be free to worship God in their own way. The Mayflower's Voyage. The voyage was long and stormy. Huge waves washed across the deck of the Mayflower. The Pilgrims were sick and fearful, but they found hope in the courage and skill of Master Jones and his crew of sailors. On a clear November morning, a sailor sighted land. At last, the weary Pilgrims had reached America. Plymouth, the first homes. Winter had begun, and the Pilgrims needed homes. They were eager to go ashore to begin building. On land, they found cleared fields and a deep green forest that grew to the edge of the sea. They cut down huge trees to make into beams. They gathered dry reeds to thatch roofs. Then, on Christmas Day, they began to build. By the fire. Outside, all was white with frost and snow, but inside each house a fire burned. The women cooked pottage over the coals. They patched their worn clothes by the light of the fire. They kept the little children close to its warmth. At the end of the day, the fire gave comfort to the cold and tired men. A promise. That winter, many of the Pilgrims became very sick. Some of them died. Those who could cared for the others. They prayed to God for help. Then in March, they had a surprise. Native Americans came to offer friendship. The Pilgrim leader and the native chief met. They feasted and talked. Then they made a promise to help each other. One Indian decided to stay with the Pilgrims. He spoke English. His name was Squanto. Squanto. Spring had come. It was time to plant. The Pilgrims planted peas and barley brought from England, but they knew nothing of growing Indian corn. Squanto showed them. He also told them where to hunt and how to fish in this new land. The Pilgrims praised God for sending Squanto to them. The forest. The forest had many things the Pilgrims needed. It gave them wood for their homes and fires. It had deer and nuts and berries. But the forest was also dark and mysterious. At night, the Pilgrims could hear the howling of wolves. One summer day, young John Billington went berry picking, but he strayed too far from the forest path and lost his way. A lost pilgrim, found. Day after day, John wandered through the forest. He had only berries and wild greens to eat. At night, he huddled beneath pine boughs to sleep. Finally, some Indians found him and sent word to Plymouth. Governor Bradford sent a boat to bring John home. The Indians sang and danced, and everyone exchanged gifts. The Pilgrims were happy that young John had been found. The harvest. The green leaves of summer turned to red and gold. The corn grew tall. The stalks became dry and yellow. Plump orange pumpkins covered the fields. Wild geese filled the blue autumn sky, and brown-feathered turkeys gobbled everywhere. the Pilgrims began to gather the corn and pumpkins. It was time to give thanks to God for a good harvest. The First Thanksgiving. On a sunny October day in 1621, Governor Bradford declared a time for Thanksgiving. The women and children put pots of pudding to simmer on the hearth. Fat geese and wild turkeys roasted slowly over the fire. Pies and cornbread baked in the outdoor ovens. Chief Massasoit and his people came with gifts. Then, with songs and prayers, the joyful feast began. The Thanksgiving celebration lasted 3 days. Everyone ate, sang, and played games. Together, the Pilgrims and Indians lived in peace and grew in friendship. Drawing America. You can draw your own first Thanksgiving celebration. On the next few pages, we have drawn pictures of Indians and Pilgrims for you to copy and color. You can copy them freehand or use the guidelines we've drawn. Here's how. 1. Copy the guidelines, the empty boxes. Ours are blue to make them easier to see. You can use a pencil and a ruler. 2. Draw the main outlines of the figure, copying the lines in one box at a time. 3. Now add the details like those on the pumpkin, the face, and the clothes. Remember to copy one box at a time. 4. Erase your boxes. 5. Now you are ready to color. We used colored pencils on this picture, but you can use anything you like: pencils, watercolor paints, washable markers, or crayons. Here's an idea for a puppet. Cut out and tape your finished figures to pencils or popsicle sticks. You and your friends can put on a first Thanksgiving puppet show.